There have been many great men and women who have contributed to the story of Dallas, but few have made such a dramatic difference in the lives of her citizens like Ron Kirk. Ron has lived his life under the simple principle, I have a responsibility to be involved. He got involved. His record of public service is remarkable. Texas Secretary of State, U.S. Trade Representative. But the one job he loved most of all, the job he was born to do, was mayor.
Yeah, I recall when we were engaged and we were with Pastor Holmes, San Holmes, who married us, and we were talking about our aspirations. And his was, if he had anything that he would dream to be, it would be to be mayor of Dallas. So I knew I was in trouble.
Ron was born in 1954 in Austin, Texas. He was the youngest of 4 children. His father, Lee Kirk, integrated the post office. His mother, Willie Mae Kirk, was a school teacher.
A lot of the issues that are in play today, the safety, the security of our families and our people were at the forefront at that time, and both of our parents were outspoken activists in the Austin community around those issues.
All of us were motivated to take advantage of these opportunities our parents fought so hard for. And one of the things my father was very expressive about, particularly since, we were the first to attend integrated schools and to do a lot of things. And he would say to me, though, and my siblings all the time, he says, you're going to be blessed to be the first at a lot of things. And I'm going to be proud of you. But that's not what I'm going to judge you by. What I'm going to judge you by is whether you're the last.
Ron attended Austin College in Sherman, Texas, and later attended law school at the University of Texas at Austin.
Ron has always been a big picture guy. That's the first thing I noticed when he was at law school. He had these great ideas, but necessarily did not have a plan to get there. But he dreamed big. And frankly speaking, later on when I saw how those things were realized, when he became Secretary of State under Governor Ann Richards, ultimately he became mayor, and then when he went to President Obama's cabinet.
Round like a circle in a spiral, like a wheel within a wheel.
After graduating from law school, Ron moved to Dallas where he practiced law. But Ron wanted to serve and make a difference. In 1981, he went to work in the Washington, D.C. office of then Texas Senator Lord Benson. He moved back to Dallas a few years later. He and his wife, Matrice Ellis, were married in 1987. It was during this time that Ron became a lobbyist for the city of Dallas. In 1994, Governor Ann Richards appointed Ron as Secretary of State of Texas, the second African American to serve in that position. But the following year, after consulting with his family, and with the support of his church family at St. Luke Community United Methodist Church, Ron decided to run for mayor in Dallas, the city that he loved.
When I decided to run for mayor, as I looked over my then sort of brief career as a lawyer, it just hit me. I've worked in Washington, I've worked in Austin, I've run government affairs for the city, and I can do this job.
It was a mixed blessing. You always want someone to do what they're passionate about, but at the same time, I knew that the station of life in which I was perhaps interested in would require us to do some things differently and keep me working, quite frankly.
Dallas was a politically divided city at that time. Racial stress, economic disparity. It was, many said, a city on the decline. But Ron thought that if he just got involved, he could make a difference.
You just saw the gross disparity in development and opportunity north and south. Well, rather than despairing that, I thought we've got to bridge that. No pun intended.
Ron actually got to be mayor at a very good time for the city, because one of the attributes that he has is that Ron kind of gets to know you, and then he finds something that you care about. It can be a personal characteristic. You may like to travel, something like that. It could be a cause or an issue that you're interested in, and then once he finds that one something that you care about, he builds a bridge around it.
When Kirk ran for mayor, his challenge was to try to bring everybody together, not just have credibility in southern Dallas, but also get support in northern Dallas. And you needed that support to become mayor. And he ran on something interesting, and it was that, we have these problems, but we shouldn't let these problems stop us from moving forward.
Ron Kirk became the first African-American mayor of the city of Dallas. From the very beginning, Ron worked to build bridges. Ron envisioned a city where everyone had opportunities, and he worked step by step to bring people together.
I made my money like 98, 99, 2000 during the tech boom, and Ron immediately reached out to me. And despite my saying, I'm just going to I'm buying a basketball team, I'm just going to run the team, Ron got $1 million from me to pretty up a bridge. And I'm like, if you know me, prettying up a bridge, you might as well ask me to buy penny loafers for the world, right? It just is not who I am. But Ron had a vision, as I said, not just for the American Airlines Center, but for really making Dallas a world-class city.
Dallas was as torn apart by political, ethnic divisions as a lot of cities we see now. We had struggled with police-community relations. The city was horribly divided north and south, and it just felt like we were our own worst enemy. But what I saw was a good franchise in need of new leadership.
The fruits of that effort, Ron's vision, shine brightly today. Victory Park, the American Airlines Center, the Trinity River Project, among others.
Now that the city continues to grow, I'm proud to be part of it. I think I'm helping, commit to developing things in all parts of the city. And so, a lot of that has to do with Ron encouraging me, making me feel at home, and letting me know that, Dallas is a city that is welcoming.
Ron later ran for the United States Senate. Though he was unsuccessful in that bid, Ron learned firsthand just how difficult it is to run for the Senate. When a young rising star from Chicago decided to run for the U.S. Senate in Illinois, Ron wanted to help. He organized a fundraising event in Dallas for then candidate Barack Obama.
And all candidates do this. If you run for statewide office, it is the most brutal, humbling, energy draining experience you can imagine. As I'm getting on the elevator, literally me and the kid who traveled with me, these two guys get on the plane, and on the elevator with us, and one starts talking, says, "I'd love for you to meet my friend. He's a state senator here in Illinois. He's thinking about running for the U.S. Senate. We've followed, your career as mayor, blah, blah, blah. Can you help him?" And I look at this, and he'd tell you the same story. I look at this guy, all I'm thinking is, man, his ears are big for his head. And I asked him, I said, look, if you're gonna run for office, I assume you have verbal skills. Can you speak? And we all laughed. I said, what's your name? And he said, my name's Barack Obama. And he said, do you have any advice for me? And unfortunately, my first advice to the now president was to change his name. Because this is after September 11th. The most wanted man in the world is Osama bin Laden. Here I'm meeting a brother named Barack Obama.
Ron and the president became and remained good friends.
We bonded around the fact that he was very much aware that I was married, like him, I was married to a strong African-American woman, an Ivy League graduate herself, and that my girls, Alex and Catherine, were 6 and 3 when I ran for mayor, and that was about the age Sasha and Malia was at the time.
After he was elected in 2008, President Obama appointed Ron to be the U.S. Trade Representative. That is the cabinet position responsible for representing the nation in trade deals around the world.
A big part of being a mayor of a big city is going around the world trying to invite investment into your community. But it was the only position in the cabinet I actively lobbied for, because I happen to believe trade is too important to our economic future.
After he left the cabinet, Ron returned to Dallas, and he's still building bridges. He's still involved, connecting people, solving problems, and leading the city and the state of Texas into a brighter future.
Even though it's been a long time coming, but you now see the apartments, the development, the retail from Trinity Groves all through West Dallas and Oak Cliff, and we're beginning to see that. And I look at everything that we've done downtown, that's beginning to change how we think about ourselves as a city.
And so Dallas, the city that Ron loves, the city that he governed, will forever call him mayor, and will remember and honor his service for generations to come. On June 4, 2016, Dallas celebrated the Ronald Kirk Pedestrian Bridge, which spans the Trinity River between downtown and West Dallas.
I was honored and especially pleased that it was a bridge that was the center point of what I was trying to do, which was connect the most prosperous part of our city with a part of our city that had been the most neglected.
And it is so fitting that it is a pedestrian bridge. To cross it, to get from one side to the other, you have to put one foot in front of the other, one deliberate step at a time. That's how Ron has always done it.
Every generation has the responsibility, as the old folks say, to plant some trees under which somebody else will enjoy that shade and that growth. And I just think God doesn't enrich us for nothing.
Ron Kirk, a man involved, building bridges to a brand new future, and that future begins now.